Thanks,
Oh,
Ken.
hello, everyone. Welcome to Paranormal Connections radio show, our return premiere show. I am Christina George, as many of you know, may have missed me for a while, along with some new faces. First of all, over to, I guess, my right. It depends on, I don't know how it looks on everybody's video, but this nice guy in the blue is my new co host. Chad Zumwalt, thank you so much for joining and thank you for agreeing to do this with me.
It's an honor. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the offer. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I completely appreciate everybody showing up. Hold on just a second. I'm going to just run over to a different page real quick. And and I apologize, guys, because I have two different show event pages for some reason. Don't know why I did it, but somehow I ended up doing that. So I just want to make sure that everybody, either room that you're in, you can go to YouTube. Wherever you go, you will be able to see the show. I also just put in the link, so if anybody would like to join the live video, put in your opinion, ask some questions, we're happy to have you. I'd also at this point like to introduce our special guest tonight. I have actually a very, very good friend and longtime friend of mine, Archbishop Ken Torres. He's the director for the Spanish subdivision of the Warren Legacy Foundation for Paranormal Research. He was born in New York and raised in New Jersey. He's currently residing in the San Francisco Bay Area. So a little bit about him. He grew up experiencing a life of haunting. His family was tormented by an evil entity during his childhood, and he experienced many paranormal encounters. He's of Puerto Rican descent. He has ties into Santeria, which I do too. One of his relatives was a high-level practitioner in the Caribbean practice. He was also a U.S. Marine veteran. Thank you so much for your service with honorable service, who was medically retired while suffering injuries in service to his country. Ken also has a background in counterterrorism and government contracting with the federal government. He holds multiple certificates and a degree in counterintelligence and security studies. With over 15 years of experience in this field, he studied the occult and demonology. He holds a doctorate of divinity from the EIT Cemetery and is also a chaplain and great friend of mine. I'll tell you, if I have somebody or anybody comes to me and says, hey, I've got something that I think could really be dark or demonic, Ken would be the first person that I would call. And I don't trust too many people, to be absolutely honest, as many people know. But I am so glad to have you on tonight as well, Ken, to talk about this crazy topics I have for tonight.
Thanks for having me on. I saw this the post you were referring to about a few months ago, and I go, you know what? I'm just not even going to entertain that idea. The truth is, people are so ignorant in their beliefs. But yeah, jack of all trades. Hey, what's up, Michelle? Yeah, yeah.
Well, and hi, Michelle. Hi, everybody that's trickling in. Thank you so much for showing up. I appreciate your support.
Yeah. No, it's an honor to be here. It's definitely been a long road for me, personally and, scholastically as well. But I'm grateful to be here. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, so for those of you that, most people at this point who are joining or are going to watch at some point already are familiar with what tonight's topic is going to be about. Many of you may have remembered, probably, I want to say maybe a year ago, possibly, I had come across this woman actually on TikTok, and she goes by X Psychic Saved. And I came about it because she was talking about how psychics at that time, she was a psychic, but she had been saved now, and she now realized the error of her ways and that she was never helping anybody. She was not connecting with any spirits of family members that had passed, that she was being deceived by everything and everyone. And what she now feels is that anything and anyone that a psychic connects to is demonic. And we're not even going to just stop at that, because I thought that was like, wow, okay. So it started to get a little bit more. So I reached out to her, and I just kind of found it very interesting because I'm thinking, as a psychic myself, okay, we know we help people, and I've never felt that I've been dealing with something demonic and get when I'm giving readings. So I reached out to her and I asked her if she would like to come on the show, and didn't go so well. First of all, she wanted to know what kind of show I had, and so I sent her the link, and right away, and she was like, "Oh, you're a psychic? You're in the paranormal?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she said, "Absolutely, I will not come on your show." And I'm like, "Really? Why not?" And she was like, "Because you're going to hell." And I'm like, "Yeah, probably, but what does that have to do with coming on the show?"
uh, oh my
So
gosh, that's horrible.
she told me that I could not do the show, and
A little
that I'm like,
judgmental,
well,
huh?
I'm doing the show regardless. I just always like to welcome people I'm going to talk about on the show so they can give their side, but I'm doing the show either way. And at that point, she told me that if I did the show, that she would sue me.
Good.
So
Let her sue
anybody
you.
knows me, that's like the green light that of course I have to do this show. And I said, well, stand in line, go at it, do what you got to do. You won't be the first, you won't be the last, but nice try. So she may show up here in the chat room tonight. We're not really sure, but we shall see. But I will tell you, um, it has gotten even worse over time because I've been, kind of keeping up on her page, and now it is like across the board. Like if you're in the paranormal, you are into anything metaphysical, new age, you're going to hell. Just let you know, guys. So we're all going to hell together. Maybe Ken can save us all so that we don't go, because I don't really know what the heck is going on. Because she says if you do yoga, if you do tai chi, if you use crystals or sage, you're going to hell. If you are a nature lover and you might talk to plants or trees, you're definitely going to hell. Um,
Yeah, so is she. Matthew 7:1. You know, that's this is a very interesting individual lady, right? The issue that we have here is it's an interesting dichotomy of extremism and Christianity and the paranormal beliefs is what I call it. So extremism in Christianity can be dangerous because often more than times it leads to exclusion, prejudice, and even violence. So, but believing in Jesus does not mean that other people can't have different belief systems, which is what I always say. So even if those who don't believe in Christianity are going to hell, they're not going to hell. That's not how it works. So there's this thing, in the Bible, Jesus taught love and acceptance of all people, regardless of their beliefs. Jesus spoke of loving our neighbor and treating others as you would want to be treated, regardless. So he even urged his followers to be tolerant of others, and respect different viewpoints. It's supposed to be a message of love and acceptance. That's what true Christianity is. So, but that's the problem with extremists, right? They take their teachings to an extreme and go beyond what is taught in the Bible, right? So they often use the Bible to promote hatred and intolerance of those who don't share their beliefs, right? So this can create an atmosphere of fear and distrust among those who don't share their beliefs. So this type of extremism can even lead to violence and death. So true Christianity, everyone, is about loving and accepting all people regardless of their beliefs. And it's about respecting the choices of others and recognizing that everyone has the right to practice their faith. No ifs and buts. That's how it is. And the reason why I would know is because I have multiple degrees that say otherwise. I grew up in ministry my whole life, right? Yeah. So I've got a master's in pastoral counseling. I've got a doctorate in divinity. I'm working on a second PhD in ministry, which I'm hoping to get in 2 years. So, but the truth is, there's this thing called church legalism. And so legalism is exactly what it is. Legalism is what is taught to church and congregation members that is unbiblical. So, for example, let's say Pastor Roddy Piper says, "Well, if you don't wear long pants, you know what I mean, you're going to go to hell," which is what we see in a lot of these Christian denominations. Well, if you wear makeup, you're going to go to hell. So, where exactly specifically in the Bible does it say that? It doesn't say that, and that's the issue that we have, is that we often confuse, so to speak, the Holy Spirit talking to us and helping us transform our individual lives into something um, that is taken out of context. So the idea is when you go to church, you follow Christ, eventually the Holy Spirit moves within you, and there's certain things and certain errors of your ways that need to be corrected. And the idea behind that is, well, maybe the way you dress, you know, um, whatever it may be, right? But then you have people that misunderstand that gift that's been given from God and say, well, the Holy Spirit's telling me that if you don't go to church, if you wear makeup, if you wear long pants, if you're a woman and you wear jeans, you're going to go to hell. Then that's wrong. You know what I mean? That's the problem that we have. Honestly, it's not about forcing one's beliefs on others, and it's not about using the Bible to promote hatred and intolerance. That's never really what Christianity was about. And a lot of bad things have been done in the name of Christianity, unfortunately. It's just like every other belief system. There's a lot of bad things that happen. And but this lady, she's flipping nuts. She's off her rockers. I mean, there's nowhere in the Bible that it talks about anything about being a paranormal investigator. If anything, I'm going to shut up because I actually have a topic, and I sent it to you, of everything that I wanted to talk about within the next hour because I'm going to have dinner soon. But yeah, so that's where I go. So people, eh, this lady is nuts. She's off her rockers, and clearly, honestly, she's the one that's probably going to go to hell because Matthew 7:1 specifically says, "Don't judge. No one has the right to judge another person besides the Creator themselves."
Right.
And my belief, my religion is about love, peace, and compassion. And so what if I don't agree with someone else? So what if I don't have the same beliefs as them? It doesn't mean I'm not going to love them. It doesn't mean I'm not going to disrespect. I'm not going to respect them. I'm always going to be here for that individual. So, but hey, what do I know?
Well, I mean, again, collectively, the three of us here and a lot of people who are in this chat room have been in the paranormal for a very, very long time. So I think that we can say something. I mean, first of all, I was highly offended that she told me that I was going to hell. I bet, who knows? I mean, I'm definitely not, the saint out here for sure.
Yeah.
But, my thing is that I grew up Catholic. I don't follow Catholicism anymore, but I am 100% still Christian. I mean,
Yeah.
so the fact that you're going to tell me that I'm going to go to hell because of what I do. And Cece, I saw Carol Ann, I saw that you put a question saying, "Oh, a Wiccan? Oh, yeah, in her mind, you are for sure going to hell." She was talking about the witch talk on TikTok. And she was so disgusted about how social media is just allowing all of this, satanic stuff to be out and demonic stuff to be out there. So, yeah, it's definitely it is interesting how she thinks. Now, I mean, again, Ken, you've been in the paranormal for a long time, and what are your thoughts when it comes to not only psychics but just trying to interact with the spirit world? I mean, do you think that people are being tricked and they are actually dealing with demonic things, or do you think that interacting with something demonic would be very different? I guess I would say.
Well, I think there's a misunderstanding about psychics. Psychics have been a topic of much debate, especially within Christian groups who believe that they are evil and are going to hell. And this belief is often rooted as a biblical misinterpretation and biblical teachings that have gone wrong. So even many Christian groups, they do condemn psychics, but it's crucial to understand that psychics are not evil. I don't think psychics are evil in any way. I think that psychics have the ability to communicate with the other side. And I think that, yes, if not grounded and not protected, a psychic can definitely come under some sort of negative influence, call it demonic or whatever, but that's highly rare. And I work with so many wonderful gifted psychics like Cece, Stephanie Treadway, even the ladies within the foundation that I work with. I don't think that they are being deceived. I mean, to say that is to say that Lorraine Warren was possessed by the devil. You know what I mean? Lorraine Warren was sought after by the Catholic Church. She worked with the Catholic Church. These are spiritual gifts that have been given to us by the Creator. Okay, and I actually have something like that. Was it that I put? Yeah, psychic abilities are a gift. Psychic abilities are often misunderstood as evil or possessed, but this isn't the case. Psychic abilities are a gift, and they shouldn't be feared or they shouldn't be judged. As a matter of fact, the Bible does not mention psychic abilities, but it does mention that they are real. So psychic abilities are a form of intuition and should be respected. Psychic abilities are. Yeah, I'm sorry. What? I heard something in the background. I was going to say psychic abilities are a form of intuition and they should be respected. So, psychic abilities are often thought as of connecting with the supernatural or the spiritual realm, but it's simply a heightened form of intuition and insight. Intuition is a natural trait within us, but some people are more in tune with their intuition, and so some people have more developed psychic abilities. It shouldn't be feared. Neither should we judge people who have these abilities. It doesn't mean that they are possessed. Simple as that. Uh, as a matter of fact, the 70s and 80s, there was a movement, with the government. They were using psychic people with psychic abilities to help shape the war, shape the future of war, in these other countries, you know. So I think that these are gifts. I think a psychic ability is a form of discernment from the Holy Spirit, so to speak. Like I'm not a psychic, I don't communicate with spirits. I don't have that ability, but I can feel things, you know what I mean? So I just don't agree with this woman who's going off her rockers, and this is the problem why this is the reason why I have a problem with Protestant belief systems. You know, I used to be Protestant my whole life, and I realized that if I go to any Pentecostal, Baptist, or any other Christian denominational church, or even non-denominational, their theology is off. They can never get their theology right. I can throw a quarter and come across like five different churches, and their theology is all wrong. That's why I believe in the Catholic theology, and I believe in the traditions of the church. And within these traditions, there's certain rules and parameters. And it's like, look, the church has worked with people with these types of abilities in the past before, and it's that Protestant hate, so to speak. That Holy Ghost fire, speaking in tongues. Like, well, I got Jesus. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't got Jesus. And that's what annoys me. I'm the type of person that I will correct you and I will put you in your place. Simple as that. If you come at me with some disrespect like that, I don't tolerate it.
Well, so my thing, as I said, I grew up, a very, very devout Catholic. My family's very, very devout Catholic.
Yeah.
My issue that I have is that I've been able to see spirits since I was very young. I mean, I never had a fear of them. I could always see them. But every time I tried to go to the Catholic Church for any kind of help, immediately I was turned down and I was told, hey, this stuff doesn't exist. Stop talking about this. Stop asking about this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. To the point that it really forced me out to really kind of try to figure this out, on my own. I mean, I know personally, and everybody has different levels of psychic ability. I mean, but I think for me, I'm visually able to see spirits. And so if it's a human spirit I'm able to see, there have been plenty of things that I've interacted with that I don't believe are human, that could be dark, and they don't present to me the same way.
Mm.
So, having people tell me, oh, I'm deceived, I'm really interacting with demons and not other people, it I don't know, to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Chad, obviously you've been in the field for a long time too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, what are your thoughts on all of this?
Well, number one, I agree with Ken. That the whole judgmental thing that is pushed so easily on people definitely is unbiblical, and it kind of screams hypocrite right off the bat. But with that said, there have been cases where things deceived people, things of a demonic nature that I know of. It's just, I think not being too fanatical, I think is
Yeah.
what he also brought up is a great pointer there. You can't be ridiculous about it. Like that movie, Waterboy. Everything's the devil. Football's
Yeah.
the devil.
Yeah.
But there are definitely things that that you should be concerned about out there. But it's the fanaticism definitely doesn't give a good message. And two, also, like these people that claim to be extremely Christian, there's a big responsibility with misrepresenting God, if I have that correct. So
Yes.
if you make Christians look like fanatical lunatics, then no one's going to want to go, see what God's about. So that's also a big factor there. And yes, definitely, she needed to come on and back, kind of talk about why she thinks everybody's going to going to hell that is a paranormal investigator, and so on and so forth. But yeah, definitely, it's some fanaticism there.
She, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the only biblical backing that she has to that is where it talks about in the Bible, don't consort with witches or
Right,
people of divination. That okay, that's fine. That's
There's
understandable.
nothing and
But
all
but
that.
yeah, but all of that stuff is more Old Testament, Old Covenant, and even then, that was a message for the people at that time, for people who were actually practicing these sorts of rituals, but they were darker in nature. You know what I
Right.
mean? These were darker things in nature at that time. So we were warned against people who would use these abilities to hurt us. And if that's the only thing that she's got, then honestly, that's weak. That's a weak argument.
And it says to respect other people's beliefs in the Bible. Don't
Yeah,
don't look down on people,
yeah,
and it just and to always question your faith and all that. So it's I like I said, I don't go to church or anything like that because I don't. I'm sort of out there.
yeah.
I just don't. Um, but due to some of the things that I've experienced, I do believe in demonic spirits,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
and that they're out there and they're out there to, do us do bad things to us. If they get the
Yeah.
chance. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
But they're not out there every day controlling our day-to-day lives. You know what I
no,
mean?
we got free will.
That's the thing too. There's this thought process. Well, especially amongst a lot of Protestant groups. Christian. When I say Protestant, I mean like Christian denominations, non-Catholic. I mean we're all technically Christian, but Protestant is the better term because, well, whatever. Because of the Reformation with Martin Luther in I think 1450, 1453, 1253. Anyway, I lost my train of thought, but it just boggles my mind how people are just so naive, and they think in the ways that they think. I just don't fathom. I can't fathom it. It's annoying.
Well,
Right.
my question though is how can you go from years? I mean, again, I have really been like really delving into like her videos, her podcast that she started, all the different things. How do you go from years of doing readings, and she says she feels as if she was helping, people with these readings, and then do the complete 360 out of no, I mean, it's like I feel like something traumatic happened to her, where she was
Bingo.
able to.
That
Okay.
bingo trauma, and that's normally what it is. Her reaction is probably an emotional reaction to a trauma that she has faced in the past, um, and that's very common. It's very common for people to go through a traumatic event and be like, well, all of a sudden they flip the script. Who knows? Maybe she had a really bad trip. Maybe she really had a bad case where something really legitimate, dark, scared the living lights out of her, and she's like, oh no, I'm done with this. I'm just going to go back to being a Christian. Something that's going to be safe. It seems like she was looking for something safe. And within Christianity, there is a safety in Christianity. There's a safety in the divinity of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and angels and heaven. There is some sort of safety in there, and it seems like this might have been an emotional, traumatic response to whatever happened to her.
And she does, I mean, again, she does have a large following. And, I do see like a lot of like the Christian groups, things like that. They do. Um, I just don't think that it's smart. I mean, even if this is how you feel, I don't think it's smart to try to put down the paranormal field. Like we're huge too,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people. I mean, especially when I very first put up about her, the post up about her, were very upset. Because a lot of people, especially that have been in the field for a long time, we've committed our lives to the field of trying to, research and help others. Uh, and to just kind of blanket that anybody that not only is in the paranormal, has abilities, that's in the metaphysical, new age beliefs, any of that, is all lumped into we're all going to hell.
Pretty big
I really
turnoff there.
don't think that that was a smart thing to take on, because I saw her last video. Now, I had posted stuff before. She did get a lot of backlash. I know that after I posted. But she came on and, she was crying and she was saying, that everybody's against her. The demons are trying to take her down and everything. And I don't see that that's what's going on. I feel like you just really pissed off a lot of people by lumping them all in and saying they're all going to hell.
She opened up a can of worms essentially. She opened
Yeah.
up a can of words. She wrote a ticket. That her butt couldn't cash. You know what I mean? And that's the truth. You can't go around offending other people. That's just not how this works. And for her to say it here and say that, well, people are going to hell. There's scientific and biblical support that mediums and psychics are not evil. The concept of the paranormal has been met with skepticism for a very long time, especially within the Christian faith. Some believe the medium, psychics, and other magical activities are evil, but the truth is it's not, because some paranormal phenomena, such as mediumship and psychic abilities, have been studied and analyzed by scientists. These studies have shown that such activities are not demonic, but result from a heightened awareness or sensitivity in specific energies. In addition, scientific studies have found that in certain paranormal activities, as telepathy, it can be explained by scientific theories, including quantum entanglement. You know,
Right.
and second, the Bible does not, not ever make any condemnations of paranormal activity. It does not talk about the paranormal ever. It does not say anything about a paranormal investigator in the Bible. It does not. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that. So for her to sit here and speak all this mumbo jumbo, uh, eh, she's discrediting people who have. This is a scientific field of study. You know what I mean? And just because we don't understand it doesn't mean that we should condemn it, and it doesn't mean that we should judge other people. And that's the problem that I have. I you know what, I hate, not hate, but I despise people who do things in the name of Christianity to hurt other people. I don't like it. I despise it. I stand against it. And I have a lot of clergy friends that I'm friends with on Facebook that don't like me, especially famous ones, because I call them out on their BS, because that's not how you're supposed to live your life according to the scripture. Simple as that. I've told people, if you got a problem with me, I could take off my collar and we'll step out in the back and we'll handle it the old fashioned way. But I tell you what, this nonsense has got to stop, because it gets, what you're doing is, you're hurting people. Especially if you call yourself a Christian, right? And you want to get people to come understand the message of Christ, right? And his love and mercy. But when you do other things like that, and you go against what the Bible says, and you're just spreading hate, that is not a good message. And honestly, and that is not a true representation of my faith, of who I follow and what I believe in. So
I agree. Carol Ann is saying, so me blessing homes and healing the spirit, helping the spirit move over is evil, according to her. This is crazy to me. Yeah, I mean, again, I think that is what a lot of people feel, because, many of us that are out there, we do a lot of private cases. We do a lot to help people who are in need. It's not just about investigating just for research and just to, find and see if there's things going on. A majority of us, I see that in the newer investigators, not so much. They're not taking on private cases. And I actually think that's a good thing, because I don't think just anybody, especially just an enthusiast, should be taking on, actual private cases unless they really know what they're doing. Hold on just a second. Aurora says scientists have discovered a new area of the brain is stimulated when a medium is channeling. They viewed their brain scans, and yeah, Aurora, you're absolutely right. There has been a lot of research over the years, not only just psychic abilities, but also into remote viewing. So much so that the military had a whole remote viewing group that they were studying and were very, very accurate. So, I agree with you, Ken. I mean, there's different levels. There's a lot of things, but again, I just can't get past this. I guess maybe it's trauma for me too, because growing up with psychic abilities, I've always been told that, it doesn't exist. You're talking to the demons, to the devil, you're going to hell, all these kinds of things. And I've never felt that way ever. And when I first got into the paranormal publicly, that was the last thing I wanted to do, was say I had psychic abilities, because back then, if you were found out, first of all, you'd be discredited immediately. Second of all, if you were on a team, that whole team would be discredited if you used a psychic whatsoever. Now, fast forward, say 10 years, 15 years ago, the shows started coming on television where they were using psychics. And then all of a sudden, again, just like when psychics became kind of popular to have a psychic, all of a sudden, everything like flipped the script. Now everybody wanted to have a psychic on their team. Overnight, it seemed like everybody all of a sudden was, their name overnight changed to, psychic medium so-and-so, and it was kind of crazy. All of a sudden there was like thousands of us everywhere. It almost seemed like it was kind of just like we were like circus monkeys, it's like, okay, now everybody put us down, but now everybody wants to be one. And, we've had such a hard time to even be able to gain any credibility in the field over the years. And we, finally do that. And then you get somebody that comes and, throws crap like this, out as well. And yes, there are plenty of people out there that are scammers. I will say, I know plenty of them. I have exposed plenty of them over the years. But, for the people who really do have abilities, it's really kind of a slap in the face and disrespectful to what we do and what we're trying to do. Pam says, my husband knows the Bible like the back of his hand, and he's very familiar with it, and yet he's still a paranormal investigator. Absolutely.
Because there's nothing wrong with it. It's basically a job, it's a field of study. Science and religion can coexist, and this woman wants to talk about the psychic abilities are bad, but look at this. In fact, in the Old Testament, the prophet Daniel was known for receiving visions and dreams. And the Bible states that the magicians of the Pharaoh were able to use their powers to interpret the dreams of the Pharaoh successfully. Okay. In the New Testament, Jesus was able to perform miracles and heal people. And the Bible states that he was given the power to do so by God. So this suggests that these paranormal activities or this paranormal or the psychic ability are gifts that can be used for good by God. And they're not evil or demonic. Simple as that. Boom. Yeah.
Well, I asked you this when we were talking, before it came, but I'm going to start out with Chad, and then I'm going to go to you. Yeah. So, I've had abilities my whole life, and I, to be absolutely honest, have been searching my whole life to be able to find an actual demonic case or a demonic possession, and I've never ever been able to find one. I have found a few things that have been pretty dark, I will say that. Do I believe that they're demonic? Not so much at this point. But Chad, what about you? You've been in the field for a long time as well. Have you come across any cases that you felt were truly demonic, where you needed to call somebody in, or a true possession, something like that?
I have a couple of them. But that's what I've studied, for the last 12, 15 years is those types of cases. So like when you deal with all kinds of cases, I'm sure that they're more rare. But yeah, true demonic possession is something you can't mistake it for anything else.
Yeah.
It's there's no way it's an act or mental illness. People are doing supernatural acts right in front of you, and
Yeah.
yeah, there's no distinguishable. You can't misdiagnose it. It's very very
Yeah.
very distinct. But yeah,
It's
I
true.
have.
It's
Well,
true. It's
how many cases do you think you've done over your career, and how many opposed to how many cases you feel like have been something truly demonic?
Well, in my 24 years doing this, I've done hundreds and hundreds of cases, and there've been a there've been cases where nothing was going on at all, and that were hard to diagnose. Lots that were the diagnosis was, um, it wasn't it didn't become as in a definitive diagnosis because it wasn't enough time spent there. But out of all those cases, I've there've been a large number of them that the phenomenon was definitely evil, and it was out to harm whoever was there, and they had certain um, symptoms about them that were the same all these cases. So um, were they something? It didn't appear to be something human, um, but I like to tell people I just work here. That's all. So
All right. Well, same thing. You've been in the field for a very, very long time, being, a demonologist yourself. Um, what do you, as in your experience, what has been, as far as like cases and truly something that you felt that was truly demonic?
okay. First of all, I do want to clarify that I am not a demonologist. I don't
Oh,
like
okay.
using that term. I'm not a demon. I mean, I've had to study it just to identify the characteristics of the traits of the demonic energy, but I don't like being labeled demonologist. So
Gotcha.
I've got about 200 residential cases under my belt, and out of those over 200, only two I would say have been true demonic possession. Um, it's more rare to get a demonic infestation. It's more rare. Not rare, but it's you're more than likely going to get a demonic infestation, or violent haunting or poltergeist, than you are a true possession.
agreed.
I would say that 90% of the cases that I've dealt with have been in an undiagnosed mental illness or people who have psychic abilities and don't know it and they're
Yeah,
uncontrolled. And so that's where
that
the
part.
Warren and that's what we do here at the Warren Legacy Foundation for Paranormal Research. It was created in 2014 by Lorraine and her grandson Chris McKenna before she died, and the idea was to teach and educate people, the public, about the paranormal. It's not as scary as you know it's not as scary as Hollywood makes it seem. You control it, you control yourself, you control the fear. And so those are just important things. So I would say, yeah, two possessions. It was a young girl a few years ago. She was 5'1", 120 pounds. She only spoke German. She started speaking to me in Spanish. She didn't know I spoke Spanish. Like, I didn't tell her. She was reading the Bible to me in Spanish, and she was responding to the prayers that I was saying in English and in Spanish. She went ahead and tossed her 6'5", 280-pound Scandinavian Viking brother across the room and broke his arm in the midst of it. She was performing satanic rituals. And when I say satanic, people, look, I know there's a difference between the Church of Satan and true Satanists, true satanic, okay? So I'm not talking about Church of Satan. I'm talking about people who practice true dark satanic rituals, who believe in the devil in the sense of how we as Christians believe in God, that deity, specific power. And I don't, you know, I don't care what you practice. I don't care what you believe in. But the thing is, when you start invoking these energies that are a lot more powerful than you are, and you think that you're in control, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're not. Things can happen to you. As human beings, we are limited. We have a limited scope of power, so to speak, or authority. And so, yeah, sorry to make that long winded, but I just wanted to get that out there.
No, I mean, again, I feel the same way. I mean, I think it's very far and few and in between, but something that, and you can tell me, I mean, something that I noticed that for people that are investigating, or even maybe teams that feel that there is something very, very dark, very evil, think that it may be demonic. Sometimes I feel like you kind of can be tricked because I've had a lot of cases that have been very dark, very angry, very, abusive and mean, where everybody that's been there prior to me feels that it's a demonic, presence. I've got there and I've been able to see a very human spirit, but that has a very horrible disposition. I had one that was a serial killer and he never crossed over. So everything that he still had all of those horrible mean traits, all of that. And so he really hated women, and so he would attack women, scratch them, all these kinds of things. And again, when you visually can't see what's coming at you, your brain kind of takes over, and immediately we think of like scary movies, like something, it's got to be something really bad, something dark, something we can't control, when in reality, it was just a human spirit that didn't cross over. That was just a really piece of crap when he was alive, and still is that way.
Yeah. The saying is, if he's, excuse the French, everyone, if you're an asshole in life, you're an asshole in death. And Chad, I have a funny joke for you right now.
Okay.
You're drinking some demon juice. You're going to go to hell.
Monster. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, those people drive me nuts. It's the number of the beast.
No.
What? I mean, it's like, oh my gosh, people just quit it. Like, I get it. Okay, I can get the symbolism behind it. I understand it. Like, but if you focus so much on that other stuff, it's like, come on, man.
Maybe I'm a spokesperson.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, the truth is, if you're an asshole in life, you're an asshole in death because of free will.
That's the logic. I mean, that makes sense.
It's free will. We were made with free will. And I think, and I don't know, Chad, I don't know what your opinion is, brother, but I think people are infatuated, especially a lot of these newer teams. I think they are infatuated with the idea of a demon, right? I mean, but if you haven't been in this field long enough, or if you've never actually encountered true demonic presence, I get goosebumps talking about it because I've encountered it. It is not a pleasant feeling.
No,
even as clergy myself, right? I have to always constantly protect and ground myself. I've got to protect my family. There's risks, to being an exorcist, so to speak, because I am an exorcist. Okay. And I've only done 2 documented exorcisms because I have a mental health background as well. So a lot of these people that say that they are possessed by a demon, they're not. It's mostly mental health. Okay. Now I get the idea. There's the thought process that a mental illness, a mental disease, so to speak, can be a supernatural affliction, which I believe it's possible. I believe that maybe some form of mental illness can be some sort of supernatural. There can be some supernatural element to it, but more than often, I believe in science and I believe in medicine.
Absolutely.
And I just think it's a chemical imbalance in your head.
Yeah, there is a lot. There are cases like that. Lots of them.
Says, I've come across really spiteful ghosts and demonic activity. Very easy to tell apart. And I will agree with that partly. I think that if you have a lot of experience in this field and you've had a lot of experience with different types of cases, yes, that might be the case. What I'm seeing now, and Chad and Ken, you guys can both chime in on this too. I'm seeing a much different type of paranormal than we were seeing 20 years ago, for sure. We're seeing a lot of teams that it's all about, having followers, making money, feeling like you're, some kind of paranormal superstar celebrity. A whole lot of egos. Now, when we started, again, everybody, investigates haunted locations. Like, that's what we want to do. But for many of us starting, we were really geared to taking on residential cases and really making a difference, mostly because a lot of us that started way back when, we got into the field because of our own experiences. And nobody was there to help us. And so over the years, we've kind of learned, trial and error, how to do this. And so we wanted to be able to give back and help those people, out there. Does not seem to be that way anymore. It really is all about, and investigating live, but I've really even been disappointed in that. I'm seeing a lot of things, and I'm seeing that instead of doing like live videos, they're going and investigating and videoing, but then they're editing all of their video to make it look like a television program. And I think it completely takes away from everything. Again, this isn't a television show that we do.
It's like, it's like I say, for me, this is a calling. It's a ministry. Helping people look, and I don't have a problem with people going out to abandoned locations. Be safe about that. If you want to be a ghost hunter, that's fine. If you want to go to abandoned places, haunted cemeteries, that's fine. Just have fun doing it, but just be safe. I don't have a problem with that. I think there's space in this field for everyone. But my thing is residential cases. Being able to help a family, and I feel like a lot of people maybe have a misunderstanding on what it is that they want to do within the paranormal. For me, it's always been residential cases, helping out. I have no desire, I have no need to go to an abandoned location. I don't feel like falling to the third floor of Nevada State Prison and getting tetanus or whatever, so to speak. You know what I mean? You know, uh, and I've seen some of the investigations out there, which are pretty awesome. I know Michelle LeBaron has gone there, but that's not my cup of tea. That's not like I would love to go and experience it, but I just don't have the time for that because I'm actually working, other cases with residential. So there is definitely, the a distinguishing factor between enthusiasts, hunters, and then researchers and investigators. But I think that if we respect one another, it'll be okay. But the problem that I have, I don't believe in paranormal unity. I don't believe in
I was
paranormal.
just about to bring that up. You're reading my mind.
I don't believe in paranormal unity in that sense. I think in its inception, it's a really good idea, but at the same time, I think there's a flaw to it because just because you can become a doctor doesn't mean you should become a doctor. There are a lot of people in this field that shouldn't be in this field, and they are giving people bad information. And I have a problem with that. I have a problem with the egos. There is a couple that lives my area, and every time someone asks for help, the same people that will call me for help, like, oh yeah, I need your help, but you need to clarify with this husband and wife couple. And I go, I'm not doing nothing. You're the one that reached out to me, So you know what? I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut because I'm pretty sure you're friends with them, and I have a problem with their ego. And we had this conversation behind the scenes, Christina.
Yeah. Well, and I have to, kind of agree with what you're saying. I mean,
Yeah.
this field is, I don't know, there is so much jealousy. There is so many egos. Like, I've been saying for at least 15 years that I don't believe in paranormal unity. I think it's BS. And this whole thing of where teams feel like they own a location or they own a town, and I experienced this 15 years ago, and it like threw me for a loop because I had a person that I knew very well. One of my team members was a family member with this other person. He was an investigator. He also started a radio show. And so we decided, okay, we're going to go out to Fresno and we were going to go and investigate. And immediately I got a call from this guy, and he said, you can't come to Fresno. Fresno is my city. You can investigate in Sacramento because that's your city, but you can't come here. I said, oh, really? So the very next day, I showed up and I live streamed from in front of his house because I don't like to be told where I can come, I can go, and where I can't go. But I have seen this over and over and over, not only with towns and cities where they feel like these investigators or these teams feel like they own the area, but even more so, if somebody's doing ghost tours, somebody's started doing investigations at a certain haunted location, and then they tend to move. So they move from that town to another town, right? And another team is like, oh, they're no longer here anymore, and we know it's haunted, and we'll take over. We'll start giving the tours. the amount of craziness that happens behind stuff like that, where people feel that if they started the investigation of this location, that nobody else is privy to it, nobody else can do this. It's like, are you kidding me?
It's like
There's
exclusivity. I mean, it's dumb. It's so childish. And the thing is, like, I do my very best to be respectful towards one another. And I agree with Michelle. I freaking love Michelle LeBaron, and Tammy Benjamin. Everyone on here, I know. Everyone on here, most of the people on here, I know, were former members of the War and Legacy Foundation or still are. And you know what? Thank you guys for supporting this. But the truth is that there are a lot of people out there that they're jealous. It's like, I'm not here. I'm not here. I'm not, like, I tell people, I'm not here to be your friend, so to speak. I'm here to educate you, and I'm here to, give you some good information. And the problem that I have is, like, a person like me with, like, full-fledged credentials and education and experience, right? People people have a problem paying $150 to attend my lecture, but they don't have a problem paying for a haunted location, $300 a night for a haunted location. It's like, okay, whatever. Um,
Well, Michelle says that, that she does believe in there is such thing as para
yeah,
unity with people that you can trust and support.
yeah.
I don't even know if that's para unity, to be absolutely honest. I feel
I,
like there's
that's just
pockets in the
friendship.
paranormal,
I think that's more like friendship. You know?
yeah, where you meet people and
Yeah,
you completely like mesh with them. The way you
yeah,
do things is open. You're completely open to them and their experience, and we kind of gravitate towards each other. And once you find those people, you kind of make them your little tribe, and it's like
yeah,
those are the people that you can count on and you
yeah,
trust and things like that. But I don't really know. I want to say that that's per se para unity, because for the unity, it would have to be really everybody, uniting in
yeah,
this. And I really don't feel like we're ever gonna get there. I mean, do you even, Chad, how about you? I mean, do you think that we're ever going to get to a point where people are going to start supporting each other and, there will be unity in the field? Or do you think it's just going to go the way it is, where everybody's just all on their own?
Well, I think that they're like Ken was saying, there's people in it for the wrong reason, and those people are never going to give people credit that deserve it, or it's just they're impossible to get along with, basically. um, I feel, and it all, and it makes, we have a really hard time with people recognizing this as a legitimate science, and those people out there that are doing all this, it's very obvious to me. Like, I mean, they can't hide it well that they're in it for the 15 minutes of fame, or they're in it to be for their ego's sake, or and so on and so forth. But yeah, everything's been really good information that
yeah,
I totally agree with so far. I'm coming from Ken. You would think you know what you're doing or something, you know.
Yeah, just a little
yeah.
bit, huh?
Well, and like, the whole, I love the idea of, that whole unity. Like, it really is, like, honestly, like, for me, it'd be nice to sit down together and, just have a big old family. But the truth is, we don't, because the reason why is we all have different ethics and morals and different standards. And that's the thing with at least what I do in the War and Legacy Foundation for Paranormal Research. We're not saying that we're better than any other team. We're not saying that, but we have high ethics and high standards on how we do things. Our founder is the grandson of Ed and Lorraine Warren. And he's traveled the world and he's worked a lot of different cases. So we are very meticulous on how we approach our cases. We are very meticulous on who we let into the foundation. So like Tammy, and Michelle LeBaron, and Aurora, you know, they have been vetted by the best, you know, to be the best, to be a part of our organization with a strict code of ethics, moral standards, guidelines, and rules that we have to follow, prerequisites that need to be met, assignments that have to be done. And that's why I think there'll never be paranormal unity, because everyone has different ethics and standards. And it's like saying, well, you know what? I'm a teacher, but today I feel like I'm going to do brain surgery on you. Let's give it a try. Let's see how that works.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I just want to say hi to John Smith. He is watching from Manchester, England. Thank you so very much for joining us tonight. I so appreciate it. I'm seeing a lot of faces and names that of people that I definitely know and love, and are part of my para family for sure. Um, and then there's some new ones. So I appreciate all of the love and support from everybody that's out
Well,
there.
well, I want to say, Christina George, thank you. I love you too as a dear friend. I actually got to know you through Cece Carolyn Castro because I help
That's
her out
right.
here in Vallejo with her team. And honestly, because I was always involved in the paranormal, but I didn't have a tribe. So Cece was my first tribe when I moved here to Vallejo, and because of her, I've been able to have a pretty successful career within the War and Legacy Foundation. So overall, I mean, just love has to emanate. Love for me is the most important thing.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I've known Cece for a very, very, very long time, and absolutely love her. And it's been amazing to meet different people, especially you. I mean, we met a long time
Mm,
ago, and
yeah.
again, I absolutely there's just certain people that I deal with that I absolutely love. We've got something for Chad. Roxy says, Chad, I have followed you for many years and tried to watch every show you've been a guest on or hosted. You are an important member of the paranormal community, so keep up the good work. What is something you have learned in this field that changed a belief that you may have had before you started investigating? Same question for Christina and Ken. All right, Chad, this is for you. We'll let you start.
All right. Well, thanks for the compliment. I didn't really have a set belief when I started doing this research. I wanted to think of a way to go about this that was non-opinionated or anything like that. So what I did is I just went out and documented the phenomenon raw and presented it as it was. And I didn't have a strong opinion there. Like I wasn't out there trying to prove something to exist or not exist. Um, so yeah, it's I've kind of gone along. It's been kind of the school of hard knocks for me as well. That's pretty much
Okay.
sums it up.
What about you, Ken?
So it says the question is, what is
What is
something that
something you have learned in this field that changed a belief you may have had before you started investigating?
be more thorough? Process of
Good.
elimination. Because if you think you've got the answer, chances are you don't have the answer. This being in this field, especially now, having been a clergy. So I'm a pastoral counselor, and so I do counseling, right? Spiritual counseling, right? And so as a doctor of divinity, I understand theology and different religions around the world, but as a human being, to the human side of me, you know, I'm an old school jarhead. I like to pick up rocks and throw them. Eat crowns, right? So this has forced me to shape how I conduct my analysis. Be really, really thorough in how you do things, because that's, at least for me, when it comes to the residential side, the mistake you make can actually severely damage a family, physically, mentally, emotionally, and even, like I said, they can literally die. So just be more thorough. If you think you've got the answer, ask someone else. Look at other viewpoints. Get other suggestions. Don't be the don't be the one man band stand. You know what I mean? Is what I'm saying. Yeah.
I have to probably 100% agree with you on that. I mean, I've learned so much over the years of investigating, publicly. Obviously was much different when I was just doing readings and little things, here and there, but actually being out there, I felt like, okay, people contact me and they say that they've got paranormal activity going on in their house, you 100% immediately want to believe them because of what you've experienced and people haven't believed you in the past. But what I realized is that there are so many more explanations for what it could possibly be other than something paranormal. So that's why it really bothers me when people are always talking about, they get these egos and they're like, oh, I'm a paranormal expert. And I'm like, yeah, bullshit, because I've been doing this my whole life and I still don't have all of the answers.
Yeah.
So
Well,
The term expert. Hold on. So sorry, the term expert, I
Thank you,
try to be
John.
cautious with that word. I think collectively, like between the three of us, yes, we can be considered paranormal experts. Between the investigators that are in this room right now in the chat room, we can collectively be experts, right? But what we don't want to do is we don't want to let that title get to us, and I think that's what people like in this field. Well, I'm an expert in demonology. Okay, I'm an expert in the paranormal. So you know about science, quantum physics, mental illness, mental health, sociology, behavioral detection. You know about all the interesting facets of the different studies and sciences from around the world, right? In order to be an expert, so we just got to be really careful with that word. I personally don't like that word because I feel like I still have a lot to learn. I
I'm right there with you.
Here.
yeah,
I think that's the thing. I learn stuff new all the time. That's as much as sometimes I hate working with other people. The other side of me kind of craves it because I love to see all the different ways that other teams do things.
yeah,
And some have some really amazing techniques that I would have never even thought of because I'm very old school. Because I have abilities, I can't do all the techie stuff. Like if you give me any electronics, I can promise you within an hour they're not going to work anymore and it's going to suck for our whole tech part of our investigation. So I kind of stay away from it. Yeah, I just use myself and an old school audio recorder.
yeah.
But I love seeing all of the new tech stuff and how it works and how other people, use it. It just, I mean, again, it fascinates me because it's something that's constantly changing.
It's and it's fun too. For me, when I do the residential side, it's not fun to me. It's more of a vocation. For me, it's fun going out to a haunted location. Like exploring. I think that's fun, and I think it's also fun too to learn your equipment. Honestly, if you become really proficient with your equipment, I mean that's a trait within itself. That's a skill within itself. You know,
I'm sorry, Michelle says you can become an honorary paranormal investigator if you join my Patreon for $25 a month.
okay,
Yeah, well,
Michelle. Hey,
go
how'd you
ahead.
know, Michelle? How'd you know, Michelle? Because I actually just posted something in the private chat about my Patreon. but it's but I teach classes on my Patreon. So
Oh my
I teach
gosh.
classes on my Patreon. Lynn
Well,
Hernandez. I take
I
it to
think we
Lynn
will only know
Hernandez.
the whole truth about the paranormal when we pass away ourselves. Yeah, and even when I'm interacting, which is again, to me is kind of strange because again, I don't understand all of this. But when I'm interacting, I'm always interested in finding out, like, okay, when you pass away, like, where are you? Like, are you in heaven? Are you in hell? And I can never get those answers. Like when people have crossed over, they always seem like they're very happy, go lucky. Things are good for the ones that cross over. But when I ask them where they're at, they never tell me like, oh, I'm in heaven or oh, I'm in hell. So I wonder that even when I die, if I'm gonna have the answers? And if so, I'm gonna come back and haunt every single one of you guys to try to give you the answers on the other
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. Well, that'd be fun. It's like, okay, cool. I'll come back and I'll open up your fridge. I told my wife, I go, the day that I die, don't be surprised if I come back to eat some of the Twinkies in the closet.
Hey, I told everybody, do not try to cross me over to the other side when I pass. I made everybody promise a couple things. First of all, I'm going to be cremated. So I told my family and my team, like half of my ashes are going to my family, the other half are going to my paranormal team, and I want them to go and spread my ashes in this like area that we do our UFO sky watches. And they were like, "Oh, we could find there's like beautiful like lakes and stuff like that." No, no, Christina doesn't want to be in the water. Anybody who knows, Christina does not want to be in the water. No. So, I mean, everybody promised me. I also said my co-host or my co-founder is a psychic medium as well. And I said, and when I cross over, I don't want any of you guys trying to cross me over because I have like a whole list of people that I'm gonna haunt. I'm gonna have
I
some
just
fun.
I don't plan on haunting anybody. I just
Oh,
plan on going. I plan on going out to bang. I told my wife, look it. When I die, bury me face down so everyone can kiss my ass.
Hey, Kat, thank you. I am doing much better. Thank you so much. And again, Kat has been following me and my show for many, 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 many years. So I completely appreciate you. Let's see. John says, I copped with a brass in a sleazy bar in Manchester. She and my wallet disappeared mysteriously. I bought her a load of drinks. Well, it's probably where your wallet went to. Let's see. Who took my mojo says the more I tried to understand, the less I realized I knew. And
Yeah.
I think so too. I mean, again, I learn all the time, and I think that if you feel like anybody that says that, again, they are an expert, they know everything, yeah, I don't believe that. Rhonda says, I believe they are in purgatory. They're not in heaven, and they're not in hell. And
That's those are my thoughts too.
yeah,
So
I
when
was
we
going to say that. People ask me a lot, they're like, oh, well, you know, do you think that there's a purgatory? And I do, because I do feel like when they don't cross it, when they pass away and they don't cross over, they do kind of stick in this in between world,
yeah.
But again, to me, purgatory was something I was always scared, like, you're going to go to purgatory, you're going to go to hell. It's like, it's going to be
Yeah.
all bad. So,
Well,
um,
hell was never meant for humans initially. Hell was actually meant for allegedly, for Satan and his devils. And I think our hell, let's say it happens and we die and we go to heaven or we go to hell. I think our hell is just basically going to be, learning from our mistakes that we've done. I don't really think that we're going to be suffering, fire and brimstone. I don't, because the God that I worship, is merciful and compassionate. So, but no one, no one knows. I don't have the answers. No one has the answers. It's like no one died and came back from the dead. Well, except for Jesus, if you believe in him. But even then,
right.
that's why it's always important to just to respect one another, love one another, and pray, I would say, for one another. And even if you don't believe in prayer, just take this nut job, for example. She got saved. She's proclaiming this faith of Christianity, but she's doing it in a wrong way. She's hurting other people. She's hurting herself. She doesn't realize it. But look, because I do have to get off here because it's dinner time. And I want to be
Absolutely.
and I'm grateful for this opportunity. But the truth is, nowhere in the Bible does it talk about ever being a paranormal investigator. And people need to stop condemning it. Okay, psychics, these abilities are gifts from the Creator, the divine, no doubt, no doubt. If we have these biblical stories of these prophets, like Daniel receiving visions, and Jesus and all that stuff, I mean, these are just wonderful gifts. And so this lady, I will be praying for her, but I think she's in the wrong. And she better not cross my path because I will put her in her place.
Well, I was really hoping that she was going to show up in her chat, but
Yeah,
I have a feeling like she's been under enough lately, so maybe she'll watch it on a rerun. Well, and I'll see how it goes. But I do appreciate you coming
yeah.
and giving, your insight on this topic. I mean, who better for me to bring on and ask for my first show? So I really
I
appreciate
appreciate
you
it.
coming.
Appreciate it. No, it's an extreme humbling honor to be on the show with you, Christina. Chad, it was nice to meet you. The truth is we don't know what's on the other side. We can only speculate. That's why it's important to be kind to one another.
Right.
And we are people in process. We're all people in process, and we're just in different seasons of our life. So your season may look different than someone else's. It may be much more happier than the other person who may be going through a gloomy time. So I wouldn't focus so much on what she's saying. Let her put her foot where her mouth is. Continue your good work. Continue the mission. Don't care what other people think or say about you, and just know that as long as you feel in your heart that you're doing the right thing, that's all that matters. Boom. Punto y finito. Se acabó. That's it. The Padre has spoken. The Padre
That's
has
right.
spoken. And I'll get people that argue with me. Well, you don't know what you're talking about, and I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know what I'm talking about. You're right. So that's where I have to kind of be the douche and be like, well, I do. My several degrees tell me otherwise. and then they'll kind of back off because like you watch these things on YouTube and you okay, a few more minutes because you got me fired up because it's annoying. It's annoying. You have all these people just spreading all this hate, and it's not right, and I don't like it. But anyway, thank you for having me on the
Well,
show.
absolutely. And I know you got to go and eat, give your love, give my love to your lovely wife. And
Thank
I
you.
will be talking to you soon, my friend.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Y'all have a wonderful and blessed Sunday. Enjoy. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Christine, we'll talk later. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Nice to meet you. Well, that was
All
interesting.
right, everybody. So definitely interesting for sure, right?
Right.
You know, I love Kent, and he's got such a amazing disposition and everything. I'm just not as nice as everybody else. Like I don't care what people say, and
Right.
I'm sure as hell going. I will be petty as hell. I will definitely put somebody on blast in a heartbeat, which we are planning on doing quite a bit this
Yeah.
season.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah. Everybody's been warned. Nobody is safe.
yeah,
Heck, I'm not safe.
hold on. Let's see. Who took my mojo? Christina, how has your UFO sky watching gone? Hey, I will tell you, it has been definitely amazing. Well, a lot's going on in the skies. If for anybody who pays attention, that's for sure a lot of craziness. And Chad and I were just talking about this before the show started. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
a lot of people have asked me, with all of these things being shot down and all of the stuff going on. And then obviously the Pentagon came out the other day and said that they felt like there's a mothership that's close in our, to Earth. And they said, "Oh, do you really think that like this is going to be disclosure?" And
Pretty
no,
big.
I think it's all set.
Pretty,
Personally,
stuff.
I think it's BS. I think it's BS.
Well, yeah, our government's pretty secretive about stuff like that most of the time. So it's like with them wanting to talk about it all of a sudden, you know, it's kind of
And yes, John, he is a real priest. Just so you'll know, yes, he is a real father. He has a lot of schooling and accreditation for one. Absolutely. Go ahead, Chad. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, no, no. I said I was agreeing with you about our government, being so open about this all of a sudden. It's kind of
Yeah,
frustrating.
deny, and then just put it out. And
Yeah. Well, by the way,
I
what
think
are you
there's a lot going on. A lot of people who have followed me over the years know that not only do I have psychic abilities and then the paranormal, but I've had experience as an abductee, a contactee, and I've also, since I've been a teenager, have been having precog dreams and very accurate ones, to be honest. Many years I was posting daily, weekly, what was going on, and started scaring people because it was so accurate. And so people, were getting all freaked out. So I stopped doing it. But the dreams have not stopped at all. um, so again, with what I'm getting and what's kind of out there in the news world, do not coincide with each other, which makes me believe that this is something that is being manufactured by the government. So don't freak out. Don't do any of that.
not just yet? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Not just yet.
Kind of like this is like one big Truman show, like we don't see anything or hear anything that they don't want us to, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to let the people know, the listeners know, you are always able to message myself, Chad, if you have a topic that you want us to cover, if you've got an interesting experience that's happened to you. We want those. I'm also going to bring back the fact or faked episodes. So we are going to kind of collect all of the crazy videos across the internet, put them out there. We will show them to you guys, and you guys will be able to have an opinion, and then we will give our opinion as well on if they are fact or fake. And I will tell you, there is a lot out there right now.
That's true, man. There is.
There's so much going on, so much paranormal drama. Like there's just it's off the hook right now. Oh, hold on just a second. He says many. Actually, John, I can send you his bio of all things he has, but he is definitely legit. He is for sure legit. Let's see. Yes, in Aurora. Yeah, he's actually a bishop in his church. So let's see. Jennifer says, "Is the government controlling the weather?" I would say 100% yeah.
Yeah, interesting. She asked that. There were 2 funnel clouds that touched down here where I live, and it's never happened before. Like within like a few weeks apart. So yeah, I would say there's something strange going on. I don't know what it is for sure, but I don't remember it being like this.
Well, I mean, again, for anybody who's followed my other show for years, I mean, we've talked about weather manipulation. Um, there are plenty of evidence
Oh
out
yeah,
there.
and
HARP
must
is
about it.
huge with, yeah, and HARP, for those who
Yeah,
know about
yeah,
that, is very prevalent. That's what it was pretty much, started at the very beginning. And I can remember probably about 15, 16 years ago, seeing an actual video where they were going to make it rain, and like nobody believed that it could happen, and sure as hell they used it, and it started raining. So I 100% believe that they can manipulate the weather for sure.
I don't know if I've ever asked
um,
this, Christina, but what do you think of the CERN and the Big Hadron Collider? That'd be that's got some interesting
um, I
conspiracy.
think they're playing with fire, and that's what
Yeah,
I think that it could be something that can definitely blow up in our faces for sure,
oh yeah,
and
for
not a
sure.
good thing at all.
So yeah, that'd be an interesting topic maybe someday here.
Mm,
Mhm.
yeah,
And
100%.
Mandela
Oh, so yeah. And Tammy said it's called seeding, and absolutely. And it used to be done actually to the manipulating for like the Olympic Games and stuff like that. I remember when they were in like Seoul, Korea at one point, and it was supposed to rain, and they were able to bypass and stop it from raining until after the Olympics, got done. So again, I definitely believe that there is ways to manipulate it for sure. Let's see. Jennifer saying, yeah, and the chemtrails. Oh yeah, I mean, those have been going on for years for sure.
What's funny is they
And
deny, they initially deny all this stuff, and like that saying, what's the difference between fact and a conspiracy theory? About 6 months. You know.
right, right. And what's so funny is that we get yelled at about, oh, conspiracy theories, like why are you putting information out there? And then, like you said, 6 months later, all of a sudden it's a reality, and the government's putting up the same stuff, and you're like, oh,
But
okay.
I never see them come back and apologize for the people they censored, or for
No.
nah, they just, oh, you were right. Yeah, Mandela.
Right. Roxy says, what's your take on the Mandela effect? Well, I think that anybody that knows about it definitely believes in it, because I can tell you all the crazy things that I experienced as a child that are no
Right.
longer that way. Like I remember them saying like the Shazam movie, like it was never ever happening. And I watched that not only did I watch it all the time, but I had the Shazam movie at one point on VHS.
Well, my dad
So
in a video store, and I remember that movie specifically. I know that it was real.
yeah, so I 100% believe in it. But again, that just shows you. I mean, it's the same thing. This is one of the reasons I don't watch a lot of television, and I definitely don't watch the news. Um, because again, you're told something, and just because somebody says this is the way it is, all these people, like, that's all it takes for them to believe whatever's being said. And you'll see so many people that'll say, oh, I remember the Bernstein Bears, and I remember this, and I remember all of these different things of how it was when I was a kid, but the government's telling me it's not true, so oh, yeah, I must be crazy. I must have, don't remember it correctly. No, that's not the case, but again, stop letting the government control what you think and believe.
Exactly, absolutely. Yeah, I think people are terrified of it. I think that one, the Mandela effect, is so, there's a lot of evidence that supports it. It's scary to people.
John says, if I can manipulate the weather, it would always snow over my house.
Snow, man, I'm glad that.
Yeah. I don't know about the snow. We've had so much snow and rain here in California, and we're sunny California. Like, what the hell is going on?
I could easily move somewhere where there's no winter, just like Arizona or something.
John says, I know I can't, but I would use carrot for noses for the snowmen. Hey, I was going to tell you, I forgot to tell you this the other day, but I guess I had finally made it to elite status.
Oh?
Because I got contacted on Instagram the other day by the Illuminati.
Oh, that's happening too, believe it or not. I even got a phone call from one of those guys one time, and I thought it was a joke. I'm going to tell you, it seemed pretty legit. Because I was going to troll these people and be like, okay, let's get down to them. And it seemed pretty real, pretty real.
Well, I don't know. So mine is for sure a scam. I'm just knowing it. So he messages me and he said, you have been chosen, and we want to initiate you into the Illuminati. Would you be interested? And I said, absolutely, right? Because I'm already thinking this is some bullshit, right? And so then he starts asking me, I think I might even post the screenshots. It was pretty hysterical. And so then he says, okay, well, what's, my name and and what do I do? And I'm like, what? How are you the Illuminati? You don't know me or what I do. Aren't you supposed to be chosen? And you should be knowing everything about me, even my deepest secrets, not that.
And when do they need money? That's such a thing. But when exactly do you need my money?
All right. Then he said, oh, do you have WhatsApp? Being another red flag. WhatsApp. Nope, I don't. Why do I need WhatsApp? Oh, I need you to have WhatsApp on. Okay, so I downloaded it and they're trying to get me to initiate. Yeah, buddy, I don't think so. I get so many scams that people come. It's ridiculous. I mean, I guess that they don't know or they don't think when it says I'm a psychic that I guess they don't really believe me.
That gives you quite the advantage.
I'm just seriously, dude. I mean, it was a good thought. I mean, my family does come. I come from a huge list of high-ranking Freemasons in my family. So could happen, but I'd have to sacrifice somebody. I know a few people that I would nominate
out there. That definitely wouldn't hurt if they weren't.
I'm going to hell. I got people that I like. If I have to, give up somebody. Oh yeah, I got a list. They can all go. I'll give them their choice. They can pick from the group. There's plenty of them. That's why I said when the psychic lady told me I was going to hell. It's a pretty good chance. I don't know.
If that's a real place.
Yeah, I don't do well with rules. I'm one of those rule breakers. If you tell me I absolutely can't do something, I'm probably going to do it just to test the waters. So yeah, I don't know that I would do real well in the Illuminati to be per se. Nor am I looking for fame and riches and all. I mean, the riches I guess would be okay, but yeah, I mean. No, I'm good. I think I'll pass on this one.
Yeah.
But I do feel like I need to mess with them just a little bit more.
Right. Well, of course.
Maybe invite him on the show. You think he'd come on the show?
Hey, yeah, that's a good idea. Get him on the show. That's what the Illuminati crap's all about.
Well, guys, I will let you know we have a huge list of topics for shows already. I will say next week, I'm hoping, I'm still working on it right now, but I have been following a guy on TikTok now for a while that was also in the military, very high-ranking security, and he now claims that some testing that has been done on him while he was in the military is now causing his body to change, as saying shape shifting. And I know a lot of people are already like, oh my God, really? Let me tell you that I'm blown away, because I have watched this guy on live. He has, over time, I've seen he's got like these, looks like different bones growing out of his elbows. He literally has a thumb that if he puts it in front of the camera and starts thinking, it like gets longer. And so all this time I've been watching him thinking, I wonder what kind of special effects he's doing, like how he's doing this. Like, is he just trying to get views? Then I started seeing his actual pages get taken down for posting this stuff. And so he keeps making new pages. So I kept following him. But what really kind of threw me was the other day, he had a video up, and he was at the emergency room, and he went to go get testing done. And Caroline is saying that she's seen him. So he was at the ER, and they were doing, they had all of the electrodes on him and measuring everything. And he said, okay, well, for those of you who think that this is BS, the doctor's about to come in, or the nurse, one of them were coming in, and they were going to look at his eyes. Because the other thing he claims is that his eyes are changing as well. And they get like a, like almost like a cat light slit where it changes. And he has shown it on video a few times, but again, it's not live, so everybody questions it. So this time he's at the emergency room, and he's waiting for this doctor or this nurse to come back in and do an eye exam to look at his eyes in the dark. And he's videotaping as he's being examined. And you can hear, I'm going to go ahead and post the video, but you can hear, you can see as she's shining the light and everything in it, his pupil is going from completely round to a slit, like looks like just like a reptilian type eye. It is crazy. So I reached out to him.
About the whole eye change thing. That could be demonic phenomenon too. There's a possibility.
Again, I had, my ex say she's probably definitely condemning him to hell, but
yeah, he's going to hell.
He seems to be very curious about what's going on with him as well. And, again, I've had a lot of whistleblowers over the last 15 years for my other show that I had, where we did a lot of conspiracy theories. And you would be surprised at how many people who've been in the military who have very high security clearance that have had testing done
absolutely. On them. Yeah, they definitely are testing on people.
Sign up for stuff and they have no idea what they're getting.
That happens quite often.
He states that he thinks that he has a Neuralink implanted in his head. Now, I will tell you, he does have a huge scar on his skull on the side, which is where he feels like it is there.
In doing that, like you were saying, Elon Musk was talking about that being something in our near future that can be done, I guess, to a number of people. So it's possible.
Yeah. So what did the doctor say? I mean, they were freaked out. They don't know what to tell him. They've never seen anything like that. I mean, they were like super freaked out. I mean, and you could hear it in in the video. I will post the video. It is very interesting for sure. Roxy says sounds like demonic possession to me. And I mean, I guess anything is possible, because again, he doesn't know, but he feels that it had to do with research and stuff that was going on when he was in the military. And now people,
no matter what the cause, it sounds like it'll be, if you can get the guy on the show, that'll be really good.
Yeah. So he said, okay, well, I'm going to watch the show this Sunday, and then I will be on the show with you next Sunday. So I'm going to, check in with him, and we'll go ahead and get him scheduled. But again, if you guys know any topics, any guests that you would like to see on the show, let me know. I will definitely reach out, try to bring them. Chad and I are going to be doing a lot of traveling this year, a lot of live investigations. We've already got a few things set up. Thankfully, he's just in the state, like what, one state over from me.
Well, I'm like right next to you.
So we're going to definitely be checking out a few places. We are planning on getting together to go up to Virginia City to investigate, since he hasn't been up there to a lot of the places that we have access.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun.
And Michelle and all you guys, 100%. I've love for you guys to meet up with us and let's all investigate together where we're up there. But yeah, it is definitely going to be a lot of fun.
Fun year coming up. Gonna have all kinds of fun.
Yeah. So again, if you guys have locations that you'd like for us to hold on. Has Chad had a lobotomy?
Lobotomy. Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I might have. I don't know. You don't really stick a thing up your nose, a spike, and scramble your brains real quick.
So yes, so we've got a lot going on, but again, we want your input. I mean, this show is really about you guys, what you're wanting, what the topics you're wanting to see. And I always love when people have their own personal experiences they'd like to share. Maybe we'll just do a whole show and have 3 or 4 people come on and explain, their experiences and what they've gone through, some of the scariest ones that they've gone through. But again, we got a lot set up, and I'm looking forward to it. Seems like it's been so long since I've,
right.
been on the show.
Like riding a bicycle, right? You never forget.
That's right. Well, again, I guess we're gonna go ahead and call it a night for tonight. But I just again want to thank everybody who shared. Feel free to continue to share the link. Everybody will still be able to watch it after the fact. And again, feel free to message either myself or Chad with any show topics, or if you'd like to be a guest, and we'll be happy to bring you in.
Oh, well, it's kind of late now to tell me to turn the audio.
Yeah, it's okay. I can hear you. It should be all right.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, good. Okay. Everybody's saying it's a great show. Thanks, everybody. I mean, we appreciate it, and we appreciate the support from everybody. Absolutely. For sure.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody. And as a lot of people know, my birthday is coming up right around the corner. Oh. And actually, my birthday's on the 21st, but I'm having my birthday party the following weekend. And so I'm going to have a bunch of my good friends that are coming out here from other states and out of town. And we're going to get together and we're going to come and investigate my job and where I live at, because they're very, very haunted. I have all kinds of crazy stuff that happens all the time at work. So we've decided that we are going to investigate. The building is from the 1800s, the historical building. I live and work in Old Sacramento, so it is very much like a little, Virginia City or a little ghost. It's very haunted down in this area for sure. We have a very well-known costume store that is super haunted. So an old schoolhouse that used to have a swing set out front, but the swings would be swinging all the time without anybody being there, and it was freaking people out. So they took the swings and disconnected them and took them off. But there's still a lot of activity, a lot of there. So again, we got a lot coming up, and so you can stay tuned for that live. And then again, we will be back next Sunday, same time, same place. And Chad, thank you very much. Thank you for agreeing to be the co-host and helping me out. I think it's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to it.
We're going to have a lot of fun. That's for sure. We're going to have a lot of fun.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for all of your support, and we will see you next week. Good night and have a great time.